What is up, FPG fam? Further here, and for today's video we're gonna go ahead and do a condensed version for the closed beta preview, just in case you missed out. Now, one thing I did want to say before we got started is that this closed beta preview far exceeded my expectations. It actually blew it out of the water for me. Now, I didn't have too many expectations. I expected to see a few additional things, but they showed new resonators, they showed new enemies, they showed a lot of additional information, and it was incredible to say the least. And it reaffirmed my notion that I've been having about this game, that Kuro is taking Wuthering Waves as a passion project. They're taking it very seriously, and they're putting a lot of hard work and effort into it, which is greatly appreciated, and something that I wanted them to do because they have a very special game on their hands here with Wuthering Waves. And if it's treated with care, it's going to do really well, and Kuro is doing just that. So just a massive shout out to Kuro, a round of applause for them, and this closed beta preview was amazing. It just only enhanced the hype for it, and I think everybody in the community is just in awe of what they saw from this preview. It was amazing. But let's go ahead, with that being said, let's jump into the preview, the condensed version. So like I mentioned, they spoke about resonators, new resonators that we saw, and old ones. We saw some redesigns. They also spoke about new enemies, and we saw those new enemies. And then they also spoke about the ecosystem and how that works. So we're going to go ahead and speak about all of that today. Now let's go ahead and start with the resonators. So they showed the old ones that we've seen before, which was amazing because they showed off the old ones with their new old animations and things of that nature, but they also showed some redesigns, obviously, to Chixia, but they also showed it for the one individual girl with the pigtails. I forgot her name. She had a complete redesign as well, so that was really awesome to see. And then, of course, they showed the other characters and their redesigns for their gameplay and how they've been revamped, in a sense, from the technical test to the closed beta. They showed Chanhua as well, which is a character that I'm super excited for and cannot wait to use. So everything was great with the old resonators that they showed. Danjin, they showed more gameplay of her as well. Incredible. But what I was not truly expecting, I was hoping but was not truly expecting, was them to show new resonators or new characters, which was great. Now the first one I did want to go ahead and speak about, which is the first one that they showed, was the character with the hat and glasses. Absolutely drippy, to say the least. This character looks like he's going to be a mechanical arm user. I'm not entirely too sure, like cybernetic arms. Flashy, takes his hat off when he's doing attacks as well, so you know he's a gentleman. But he also does flurry of kicks. It was just all really great. Now I'm not exactly sure what element he's going to be. It's blue, electric, so I'm not sure what they call it in Wuthering Waves, but very flashy, fast attacks, melee. It all looked great. Very, very unique, right? And then they showed a character that we've seen before in story but never gameplay of, which is the character with glasses, red everywhere, red hair, red stuff all over him. This character looked great as well that they showed. Very flashy again. Showed the ultimate where he's able to do the bullet attacks with his dual pistols, but also additional attacks fly in, so he probably does more damage. Everything looked great there. Ult animation looked great. Super excited about those new resonators. They should be in the closed beta. I believe they confirmed that, which was awesome. Now one thing that they did also show was Jian, which we've seen gameplay of from the IGN exclusive gameplay footage, but one thing that they did confirm is that Jian does have two old animations, which is something that I was speculating, but I couldn't confirm because I wasn't sure. They didn't show it, but in the preview they did. So while they were doing the gameplay and they were doing his basic attacks, they do the ult, and it's a completely different animation with slightly different effects, and then it goes into the same basic normal attacks that we saw from the IGN gameplay footage. But it does confirm that Jian has two different ult animations, which is incredible. It makes Jian feel very premium, right? A character that is unique with two different ult animations in one is pretty premium, and so definitely a character that's going to be sought after. Probably going to be very strong, at least in the beginning and midway of the game of Wuthering Waves, and then progression catches up. But you know, he looks great. Giga Chad, two ult animations, and that's been confirmed. So that's probably when his passive bar above his health is full. It does more attacks. It's probably stronger. Does some more things, right? Added effects and things of that nature. So all that was great. Absolutely amazing. Blew my socks off when I saw that. Now, let's move over to the ecosystem, because this is what makes Wuthering Waves unique. I spoke about this before. This is what separates Wuthering Waves from other open world games that are very similar. The unique feature of defeating your enemies and catching them and then being able to use them in game to defeat other enemies is just very unique. And what we got confirmation on is that each echo that you collect, which is what they're called, you can then equip, and they all have their own different effects with different passive abilities. So one may give you more defense, the other one may give you more crit damage, and then a combination of different echoes can give you different effects like more crit rate that they spoke about. So it's very unique, it's pretty in-depth from what I can see, and by combining those combinations and figuring out which one does what is going to make exploring Wuthering Waves ecosystem a lot of fun, and being able to see what combination is going to work the best for which character, right? You might have a more defensive character and want more defense. You might have a more DPS character and want more crit rate and crit damage. Just really depends. But capturing them and then using them is extremely awesome. And I spoke about this on stream, which, by the way, if you were there at the live stream, massive shout out to you. Thank you guys so much for all the support. I do truly appreciate it. I spoke about this on live stream where you're going to have to fight these bosses, and they're going to be challenging. We're going to talk about the bosses here in just a second. They're going to be challenging and they're going to be frustrating, but the satisfaction of defeating an enemy is fantastic, right? A boss that you've died to 100 times, defeating them in of itself is satisfying, but then being able to capture them and then use them is going to be even more satisfying. And I think that's going to make this game so much fun to play and make the bosses fighting them so much more engaging. Also, I did want to mention that they confirmed co-op as well. So when they were speaking about capturing the enemies, they said you can show it off to other individuals in co-op. So co-op confirmed. Now, how in-depth co-op is going to be or how important it's going to be, we'll have to wait and see. We're not sure if it's going to be like Genshin co-op where it doesn't matter, they just have it so you can play with your friends, or if it's going to be like Blue Protocol co-op where it's necessary in certain situations. We'll just have to wait and see. I think probably the latter, but I hope not. I'm hoping it's going to be a tier above Genshin, but maybe slightly lower than Blue Protocol, like right in the middle, where certain scenarios may call for co-op and it'd be fun to do and still challenging, but not necessary to where you have to co-op, where you can still defeat the content on your own if you wanted to and solo the bosses. So we'll just have to wait to see for that, but co-op confirmed is great nonetheless. No matter how it is, it's always great to play with your friends. But moving on to the bosses, what they did was a really cool feature here and transition in the preview where they actually went into the gourd and they show you all the captured enemies in there. Not all of them, but obviously some of the really cool ones that you'll be able to see in game and capture. They showed a bear, salamander that we seen, the wolf, and as they progress, the enemies got larger that are in the gourd, and then they led up to the bosses that you are going to be able to fight. And bosses that we've seen before, like the Ghost Rider. They showed a new one, which is the Gorilla, which I said on live stream is probably going to be the bane of my existence. He's probably going to be the most frustrating for me. But great designs for all of these bosses, very unique. And all of them are probably going to be challenging with their own phases. Probably each of them have different amount of phases, 2 phases, 3 phases, and beyond. And then they also have the mosquito that they showed, that they teased on their Twitter page, which was really cool to see actually in game, to be able to see how this guy moves. Gonna be frustrating again. And then they showed a eagle, dragon, insect looking thing. I'm not too sure, but it looked cool nonetheless. And they showed them all in the gourd, which was really awesome, and then gameplay for each and every one of them. But harkening back to capturing them, that's what's going to make this game so satisfying and going to make fighting these bosses so engaging, because you know you're going to be able to use them. And what I noticed from the IGN gameplay video is that these bosses, obviously when you catch them and use them, are premium, right? They're top tier. They should be, meaning that they do more damage than the other lower tiers, and they probably have greater effects and greater combination of effects when you capture them. So it's really going to be something that's worthwhile doing. They also showed the whale that we've been seeing, which I don't know how we're going to fight this guy, but we're going to, and it's going to be epic to say the least. So just some top tier stuff here, right? Top tier stuff with these bosses, all very unique in their design and gameplay. And it's just going to take learning and mastering and figuring them out and then capturing them and then using them for yourself. But we got to see the Ghost Rider, which we've seen in the technical test, and there seems to be some differences in the boss fights. Going back to the phases, it appears that they are really harping on that and making that a feature with all these bosses, that they're going to have phases. Like the Crownless, we saw the phases, and with the Ghost Rider, we saw that he comes in with his bike, and then he in a phase gets off his bike, and then he can summon it to attack you. Just some really unique stuff. We saw the dragon, insect, bird thing with different phases as well. Crownless we knew had phases, but what was really awesome to see was the individual that we've seen before in the story that we knew was going to be an enemy, but I didn't know they were actually going to show him as a boss fight, but they did show him as a boss fight, and that is going to be pretty fun. I mentioned he looks like the Roland of Wuthering Waves from PGR. Looks like he's going to be super frustrating, but I believe, and I'm going to speculate and predict, in the future he'll be possibly a playable character like Roland was, but he's using cards and doing a lot of very fast movement, and once again gonna be probably a boss, an enemy that you're gonna have to fight a couple times to nail down and defeat eventually. Now that guy in particular, you're probably not gonna be able to capture him, right? Because you're probably gonna have him as a playable character in the future. Not gonna be able to capture him, but the other bosses like the whale and the insect and the gorilla monkey, you're gonna be able to capture those and use them, which is gonna be incredibly awesome and so much fun to go ahead and utilize. But that's pretty much the preview condensed for you guys. Not much more to say other than that. It was all great. The production value once again was top tier, top notch, and it just has me more excited for Wuthering Waves. Cannot wait for this game and the closed beta. Hopefully we get in. Also, they had ways to get into a raffle, so if you go on to Twitter, which follow me, that'd be great. It's in the description down below, but you follow them, you retweet them, you use the hashtag Wuthering Waves CBT, and you can enter in the raffle. So anyways guys, down in the comments below, let me know your thoughts, let me know what you guys think, and let me know what you're most excited about. Let me know if this made you even more excited. I appreciate each and every one of you. Remember to stand out, be different, have fun, go further beyond in everything that you do. My name is Cody, you call me further. I'll see you on the next one. Bye guys.